Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. Today we've got a review for you, this time of Shantae and the Seven Sirens. A big thank you to Dave Morrish for helping to write some of this review. The character of Shantae and the games that she has appeared in all have an interesting history. Designed by Erin Bozen and then turned into the protagonist for a video game by her husband Matt some years later, her first appearance was in Shantae on the Game Boy Color back in 2002. Despite not selling particularly well back then, the game gained a huge following over the years, and a cartridge for that game will set you back a fair price these days. An 8-year gap followed before the next game in the series, Risky's Revenge, which released on DSiWare back in 2010. Pirate's Curse and Half Genie Hero released in 2014 and 2016 respectively, and this new entry, the Seven Sirens, continues this remarkable upward trajectory for the character over the last decade. But will it sing you a glorious song or lure you crashing into the rocks? I'm Glen, thank you to Way Forward for the review code, and now let's find out. Shantae and the Seven Sirens tells a story of Shantae being invited on a luxurious trip to Paradise Island to take part in the Half Genie Festival along with 5 other Half Genies. However, whilst practicing for the show, the other Half Genies are all mysteriously kidnapped, leaving Shantae to try and find out what's going on. The previous Shantae games in the series have all flitted between being metroidvanias, platformers or somewhere in between, but this newest entry is very much a metroidvania. Instead of separate linear levels, you have a large 2D world that you explore with a map which you can bring up at any time, but it only shows you the areas you've already visited, leaving you to fill in the rest as you progress. As you set about your quest to rescue the Half Genies, the game doesn't show you on the map exactly where to go next. However, there are plenty of NPCs scattered around the towns in the game that can point you in the right direction. As you would expect in this type of game, you will be encountering a lot of blocked off paths and inaccessible collectibles that you'll need to return to once you've obtained a new ability. These include heart squids, 4 of which will give you an extra heart. It is a shame that you cannot annotate the map to help you remember where they are, but thankfully it's not too difficult to find your way back, seeing that the map shows you which rooms have exits that you haven't yet used. Finding your way around the map is also aided by the warp rooms that you'll find scattered around. This makes backtracking a whole lot easier. The main areas you will be searching for are the labyrinths. These take you off of the main map and into a sub-area. Think of them like the dungeons in Zelda games. You explore the map, solve puzzles or defeat enemies in rooms to obtain keys to unlock doors. You eventually meet a Half Genie who lets you unlock an animal transformation. You then use this transformation to navigate the rest of the labyrinth until you meet the boss, who you will then defeat with the new power you've obtained. I found the labyrinths to be a fantastic addition, and I had a lot of fun solving my way through them, and it always felt satisfying to gain a new ability. To give you an example, the first of them is the Newt, and once you get this you can dash, stick to and climb walls. This ability really does complement the fantastic controls in the game. Shantae moves at a decent pace already, but I could never resist dashing constantly to speed her up as I navigated the world. She still performs magic by dancing, but the animal transformations aren't done through this method anymore. The Newt is assigned to the ZR button, and seeing that turning to the different animals is a big part of the Shantae games, it's nice to see them streamlining this aspect. To further prove this point, you later unlock a drill which is automatically used as soon as you are near diggable ground. The dancing mechanic is reserved this time for other magic that Shantae does. Each spell is unlocked after you've beaten a labyrinth, rescued the Half Genie and then returned an item to them that they have requested. They will then lend you their power through power fusion. These are activated by holding the X button and selecting the direction the spell is assigned to. Once you've unlocked a few of them, it can feel a little daunting knowing exactly when you need to use them, feeling as if you have to try each and every one of them in every screen that you enter, but thankfully the spots that they are required are pretty obvious. Using these spells drains your magic meter, but I haven't found that to be a problem as the game is very generous when it comes to what enemies drop. Magic is also used for the items that you can buy in the shop, and you can even spend the money you acquire to level them up. Shantae uses her hair as a weapon as she has done throughout the series, and it never stops feeling satisfying whipping enemies away. You can buy upgrades to make your hair attacks faster and stronger, and killing enemies will result in plenty of money being dropped. But perhaps most interestingly, they will also drop monster cards. Sometimes an enemy will drop a card of themselves as they die. If you collect enough of the same card, you can activate a perk relating to that monster, such as being able to climb or crawl faster, or even doing more damage with a particular weapon. These add some strategy to the game, and quite honestly, even without the perks, I was more than content with just having a bunch of cards to collect. The enemies are varied, not just in look but in how they attack. There are some you can wipe out in one hit, but there are plenty which require a much more cautious approach, letting them make their move first before moving in. The boss fights make use of the transformations for that labyrinth in clever ways, although I found the second boss to be a bit tedious as there was a lot of waiting around for it to use the right move for my opening. The game does get more difficult as you progress, and I found myself dying more times than I would like to admit. There is a kind elderly gentleman found in specific spots on the map who will let you save your game. If you die, you will go back to the previous save point. Sometimes my death came quite a while after this, and it can be frustrating to have to replay sections again, especially when you were backtracking to begin with, so it's always advisable to be aware of where any save points are, and sometimes it's even worth going out of your way a bit to secure a save point and not end up having to potentially redo large sections again. Shantae and the Seven Sirens plays like a dream, and although there may be times where you could be wandering around areas feeling as if you've missed something or misinterpreted a clue, these are minor complaints, and on the whole the world is a huge amount of fun to explore. Finding new abilities is just the icing on the cake, and gameplay receives 18 out of 20. Controls are extremely fluid and the streamlined transformations feel very satisfying to use, and they score 19 out of 20. Visually, Shantae and the Seven Sirens continues down the path of the more recent games by adopting a hand-drawn art style. There is a clear vibrancy and warmth to both the character design and the settings, which has Way Forward stamp all over it. The tropical setting allows this vibrancy to truly flourish, and each new town that you find has its own unique features, which makes it stand out from the last. As lovely as the artwork is, the backgrounds are perhaps sometimes a little too simple, with not much by way of animation going on. You could argue that this allows you to fully concentrate on the foreground, but even so, they do look just a little plain at times. This really is made up for though by the beautifully drawn characters, which look great in motion, especially when you are partaking in one of the boss battles. To complement the hand-drawn look, and new for the series, are the fully animated cutscenes that flesh out the story more than ever before. These are of a high standard, and even when the game reverts to using static images with voiceovers again, the writing is sound and there are some genuinely funny moments to witness. As well as the cutscenes themselves, there is also an original song included with vocals by Shantae voice actress Christina V. Performance wise, the game runs at 60 frames per second, with the only real drops occurring when the character transitions from one screen to the next. Even then it only drops into the high 50s and everything looks lovely and smooth. There are occasional load times which are perhaps a little longer than you would like, although they are few and far between. The music suits the game's aesthetic very well, managing to go from fairly laid back and relaxing to exciting and swashbuckling and even fairly ominous at times. There is a real tempo to it that sets the adventure in tone and almost has a chiptune style at times too, with particular notes having a familiar pitch that really evokes feelings of nostalgia for a classic time in video game history. I mentioned the voice acting a moment ago, both in terms of the voiceovers and the animated cutscenes, and these really enhance the Saturday morning cartoon look and feel of the game. Visuals are beautiful to look at due to an abundance of style and a lovely fluidity, although a little more animation on the backgrounds would have really rounded it off nicely. They score 18 out of 20. Audio fits the tone of the levels well, mixing things up nicely as the game progresses, and they also get 18 out of 20. Shantae and the Seven Sirens costs £25.19, €27.99, $29.99 or $42 Australian dollars. This is not a bad price for a new game that does have very high production values, although it is worth noting for those new to the series that Half Genie Hero and Pirate's Curse are both available on the eShop at cheaper prices, so if you are looking to test the waters, you may potentially want to start there. With that being said, the game itself is not lacking, as there is a sizable adventure here with plenty to see and do. There are also collectibles for those completionists out there who want to see that all-important 100% rating on the file select screen. There are 5 different win screens achieved by completing the game in certain conditions, as well as a New Game Plus mode. So although it is priced higher than the other Shantae games, I still think this game is certainly worth an investment. Factoring in the amount of love and care that's clearly been put into this, and it's definitely worth it. Value scores 15 out of 20. To conclude, Shantae and the Seven Sirens is a fantastic metroidvania that looks and plays wonderfully well. Occasional moments of frustration, as well as the potential to lose progress if you don't sometimes go out of your way to find a save room, are minor concerns, but the package on the whole is one where the positives well and truly outweigh the negatives. This is without even mentioning the beautiful art style, with all the charm and vibrancy that it brings. These sirens most certainly sing a very alluring song. Shantae and the Seven Sirens gets a SwitchUp score of 88%. Thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed that review. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. A big thank you to Dave Morrish again for helping me to write some of this one. As I've said before, Dave has his own channel, SaveDex Gaming. I'll put a link in the top pinned comment. Please do stop by and have a look, and perhaps subscribe to him if you like what you see over there. A quick thank you to our patrons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos and helping us to achieve 100,000 subscribers. It's absolutely fantastic, we're made up with it, thank you so much. As always, I hope you're all staying safe, take care, and until next time, happy gaming.